haven't actually spoken to you all since the transfer window shut, but I'm so glad it has. It was an incredibly stressful window, but I think we actually made some half-decent signings in the end. So, you know, Dan Drinkwater's coming in, Costa, although we hadn't really heard of him until now. Most of you fans seem pretty excited about him with the clips we've watched on YouTube and everything, and the fact that I think he's definitely an Antonio Conte signing. I'm sure you'll be thrilled with that, and anybody that Antonio Conte signs, I'm fully behind. Yeah, you know, a little bit disappointed with some things that went down. I think the Ross Barkley situation, that's obviously a little bit disappointing. But he's come out on Twitter today and said, despite what the press is saying, that he was having a medical and he's changed his mind, that it simply was that he's not fully fit and he wants to wait till January until he is back playing to his best to make any final decisions, which I actually think is pretty sensible. So hopefully that works out in January. The one thing I was a bit disappointed about was Llorente. I can't imagine Conte's happy with that situation. He's a striker that he wanted, but obviously we weren't going to offer him a 2-year deal because he's an older player, and we all know how our board feel about that. But in terms of the situation between Antonio Conte and the board, I don't think there's anything we need to majorly worry about at the moment, but Conte wants the players that he feels he needs to win us the league, to win us the Champions League, and if he's not going to get them, I do worry long term about him, you know, and his place and whatever. I know he said he's fully committed to us, and I don't think it's a case of him wanting to go elsewhere. I just think that if he doesn't get the players that he wants long term, if this is going to be a pattern, then that's not the best news. But you know, yeah, that was a shame, and that sort of leads me on to my next point and what this video is about. Diego Costa. Just when I thought that entire situation was over, it appears that it's not. So I wasn't expecting a deal to go through, to be fair, on the last day of the transfer window for him to go to Atletico. I think there's still loads of bad blood. I think it's all over the place. I think Costa's being extremely difficult. I think the board are wanting him to come back. I think Costa knows that Conte doesn't really want to manage him. That's no good. I think there's so much miscommunication between the three. I think what the board wants, Antonio Conte doesn't want. I think even if Diego was to return, I don't think he'd be fully happy. You know, there's all these sorts of things. And I suppose from Diego's side, you can see that if Conte doesn't want him there, then that's not really a nice environment for him to be in. But at the same time, I think we all know what happened last summer, especially what Antonio Conte said. He said, you know, he wanted to go to Atletico Madrid, and now he's obviously changed his mind. So it's definitely not up for debate on whether Costa has been easy about this situation, or, you know, it could have been handled so much better, and he is by no means innocent. However, Courtois has made a lovely little Twitter post, hasn't he, which is just great, saying he stays, a bit like what happened with the Neymar situation. It's up now. Hopefully I've dissolved the picture in for you there. Yeah, I think this is a bit of banter. I don't think it's anything to take seriously at the moment. I think, like I say, everything is still so up in the air. I don't think that the board are agreeing. I don't think Conte, the board, or Costa, all three of them have come to any sort of agreement. I think what's happened here is we have to name 25 players in the squad for this season. It's more of a legal situation. I spoke to Charlie about it earlier. He seems to think it's definitely more of a legal situation where we have to name 25 players. We have to make him available for selection. He's still under contract. He's still technically, even though he's halfway across the world, a player of Chelsea Football Club. So if we weren't to name him in that list, it would sort of seem like a little bit of misconduct on our part. I don't think this means that Costa wants to return. I don't think it means that Conte is going to want to manage him. I just think this is something that's had to be named, and people have sort of latched onto it and thought, oh, okay, well, this means this and this means that, and he definitely wants to come back. Yeah, I don't think we're anywhere near an agreement there. Costa still isn't in England even, and well, I mean, he's not trained with the team. You know, there's no development other than, I mean, a team selection and a bit of banter on Twitter. So comment below, let me know what you think. But as of the moment, I don't think the situation's been resolved at all. I think this is more just what has to be put on paper. Having said that, my views. I think we did a poll on Twitter, check that out, CFC Fan TV YT. Rory put a tweet out saying, would you like to see Costa back in the team, would you be happy? And actually around about 60–70% of you have said yes, you would. So having said that, let's say the possibility is there and does arise that Morata and Diego Costa can play together. Would you like that to happen? Comment below. I, for one, actually think that would be really, really dangerous up front that we have. I think it would be absolutely brilliant. I think it all comes down to whether or not you want to accept somebody back into a team that has caused too much grief, in my opinion. I can't remember the last time we had this much grief with a player. It's gone on for long enough. But at the end of the day, to me, I mean, no matter what they're like as a person, I want to win trophies. I want the club to win trophies. And I think Morata and Costa together would be absolutely brilliant. Whether or not it's going to happen, I think the chances are slim. But you never know. I think that's just... I mean, it sounds to me like all three of them have to sit down and have a really good conversation about what's going to happen, because I don't think it's good for Costa to be out for a whole year. Not playing football. I don't think it's good. Don't think it's a good reflection on our club. I think it discredits everything that he's done at the club, and I think it'd be a really sad way for him to leave us. So I want something to be resolved really quickly, but I don't see it happening anytime soon, unfortunately. So yeah, but comment below, and I mean, fingers crossed if we can get something sorted. I either want him, you know, by January to be playing somewhere else or back in the team, playing with the team, up front. Partnership with Morata, I think, would be insane. So let's just hope, fingers crossed, that it gets sorted ASAP, because this is just dragging on and on and on. It's getting confused. But like I say, don't get too carried away with all the banter on Twitter the players are having. I think it's funny. I think the relationship that Costa has with all of the other players, Courtois, I think they're all really, really good friends. I think this is more a behind the scenes thing with the board and Conte, and let's just hope that gets resolved, like I said. So yeah, comment below. What do you think of the whole situation? Would you like to see him playing with Morata? Would you like to see him up front again on his own? I don't think that. I think there's a very slim chance of that ever happening. But I think them two together would be absolutely superb. So yeah, comment below, and I'll see you all super soon.